The story of the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens begins with forward-thinking local businessman and first mayor of Palm Springs, Philip Boyd.
I believe it was March of 1970. Phil Boyd told me he wanted to help people understand the beauty of the desert, and he wanted to create a facility where people could come and learn about the desert. And he asked me if I thought those were good ideas, and I said yes. But to help start something from scratch, what do I know about starting something from scratch?
Despite her initial apprehension, Karen Sosman was hired as the first employee of the Living Desert in September 1970 and promptly set out to transform an empty piece of desert into an educational and cultural attraction.
We put up a little metal box at the parking area where people could sign in, and if they wanted to leave a donation of 50 cents, that was nice. And they could pick up a trail guide because there were no buildings. After we put the first two buildings up, there wasn't a plant out there. It was scoured clean except for one Palo Verde tree. And that tree, I said, we're going to save that tree. We're going to use that tree in the design of these gardens. And so that was the very beginning of the very first garden we put in, which was the Mojave Desert Garden. I convinced the board that we had to have animals as well as plants, and that we could talk about animals from other deserts to help people understand that this animal looks like this and acts like this because it lives on a desert, whether it's in the United States or South Africa or the Sahara. And over time, the collection built.
Today at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens, we have over 150 species, almost 500 animals. Our mission still is to protect the desert wildlife and wild places, just like it was 50 years ago. The animals here at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens are incredibly well cared for, and it's our privilege to take care of them.
Over the last 50 years, more than 10 million visitors have come to our park and had a chance to experience our education and conservation programs. The Living Desert is unique in that we focus only on a very small section of the ecosystems, just deserts, and we have deserts from North America, Africa, and Australia, and we combine both the botanical garden aspects and the desert habitats and our amazing animals, and we tell their conservation stories here in the Coachella Valley.
Conservation is at the heart of everything we do. Outside of the zoo, we revegetate degraded ecosystems to restore them back to ecological health. In addition, we breed species explicitly for releasing into the wild. Currently, we're working with our partners to reintroduce pronghorn into California that have been lost for over 80 years.
The first truly large animals we brought to Living Desert were bighorn sheep in 1975. We're breeding those sheep to reintroduce into the wild in Southern California, right in our backyard. But it opened the door for other captive breeding programs. Actually using the zoo to develop large enough populations to do genetically valuable captive breeding.
If it wasn't for human care populations and breeding in human care, animals like the Mexican wolves just wouldn't exist anymore.
In the late 80s, the Mexican wolf population was down to only 7. 7 individuals existed in the entire world. These 7 individuals were brought into human care. We managed this population so that it grew from 7 to over 440 individuals. Half of them are out in the wild, and they came from the assurance populations that we have bred here and at other zoos across the country. The Living Desert, in many ways, is the reason that the Mexican wolf still exists.
People are always surprised at the extent of our conservation programs, but that's critical to fulfilling our mission, trying to make a difference in the lives of desert animals all around the world. Every year, more than 100,000 school-aged kids from as far away as Long Beach or as far south as Calexico come to our park where they have a chance to learn about becoming agents of conservation and helping preserve and protect desert habitats all around the world.